The Advent Health 400 at Kansas Speedway just finished, and it might be the race of the year.
Everybody likes a winner, right?
A three-wide finish.
That was old school ass whipping.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Ooh, let's go racing today, boys.
What a race. Kyle Larson wins in the closest finish in NASCAR history. And this isn't the closest finish like Atlanta was the closest finish. This is officially the closest finish in NASCAR history. Larson takes home his second win of the year with a 0.00 margin of victory. However, there's a whole lot more than just that to get into. First off, I didn't even think this race was happening today. This race was scheduled for a 3 o'clock start time, and we didn't get started until after 6 o'clock, over 3 hours later than the scheduled start time. But in order to talk about the finish, we have to talk about the beginning. The race started, and Chastain looked like he was clearly the fastest car at the beginning of the race. He got off to an aggressive start immediately and got the lead. In about the middle of the first stage, we had extremely hard racing between Larson and Chastain. They were trading positions back and forth, but neither of them could cement themselves as the leader. Eventually, later in the stage, Larson was able to take the lead and maintain it for a decent period of time. However, he ended up getting loose about the time that Hamlin was passing Chastain. At that time, Hamlin was able to pass both Chastain and Larson to take the lead. Hamlin went on to win Stage 1, with our Stage 1 finishers being first Hamlin, second Chastain, third Larson, fourth Bell, fifth Buescher, sixth Gibbs, seventh Truex, eighth Busch, ninth Gragson, and 10th Elliott. At the start of Stage 2, Denny Hamlin got blocked into his box while trying to leave and ended up coming off of pit road in 8th. Chastain came off pit road with the lead, with Bell in 2nd and Larson in 3rd. On lap 91, the 1 and the 20 got loose battling for position, allowing Larson to pass on the inside and take the lead. When those two checked up, the field ended up going 5 wide, dropping the 1 and the 20 back to 6th and 7th place. Green flag pit stop started on lap 118, and on lap 119, Larson pit from the lead. Larson ended up having trouble on pit road because the left front wheel got stuck. Because of that, Larson ended up cycling to 6th place. Later in the stage, the 11 of Denny Hamlin was charging through the field after getting held up on pit road. He was able to get up to 3rd place in the stage, with Chris Buescher taking the stage win. Our Stage 2 winners were 1 Buescher, 2 Larson, 3 Hamlin, 4 Busch, 5 Truex, 6 Gibbs, 7 Bowman, 8 Reddick, 9 Chastain, and 10 Gragson. At the beginning of the final stage, Larson was the first off of pit road, with Hamlin again getting caught behind another car on pit road while trying to exit. Hamlin was 3rd entering pit road and ended up coming off of the pits in 11th. The 17 was penalized also on pit road for having drivers over the wall too soon. Because of this, he had to go to the back of the longest line on the restart. On lap 176, the 84 of Jimmy Johnson got spun by the 7, collecting the 7 and the 31. The 7 and the 31 both received minor damage, however, the 84's day was done because of this incident. During this caution, one of the drivers did something to make me pretend like I'm the Door Bumper Clear podcast and have my very own What an Idiot segment. That driver was John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek was a lap down and got the free pass. However, he ended up speeding on pit road during what was basically a non-competitive pit stop and put himself a lap down again because of the penalty. So yeah, what an idiot. On lap 184, the broadcast did something that really irritated. Lap 184 was the restart after the caution. However, Fox picked that time to do one of their Crank It Up segments. Although I enjoy the Crank It Up segments, the restarts today were amazing. There was action throughout the field on every single restart. Because they were in Crank It Up, that makes it where the booth can't talk. So because of that, we weren't able to hear any commentary from anything happening in the field. Finally, the broadcasters were able to speak because the caution came out on lap 192 with a solo spin from the 21. This caution ended up having a huge impact on the end of the race. During this caution, the 11 and the 17, as well as a handful of other drivers, decided to pit. This was an extremely risky caution because had they gone green to the end, they may not have been able to make it on fuel. However, they got extremely lucky because on lap 198, the 22 spin into the infield, bringing out the caution again. At this time, the entire field pit, which was amazing for those cars that pit before because they only had to take fuel. This would give them enough fuel to get to the end, and it would give them great track position. Another move that had huge impacts on the end of the race was the fact that the 5 team decided to take 4 tires here when the rest of the field, for the most part, took 2. At the end of the race, when the field pit and most drivers took 2 tires, Larson also took 2, but his other 2 tires were a lot fresher than the drivers who at this point only took 2 tires as well. One thing I was really disappointed to see at this point in the race was Carson Hocevar, who at the time was running in the top 10, ended up having to pit for fuel, putting him a lap down at that time. I was really rooting for the rookie to have a good finish today, and it looked like he was going to have that. We got back going after the caution, and Hamlin and Buescher got out to a big lead. Larson was chipping away at their lead, getting into about a second away from them. However, at about 10 to go, he ended up dropping back a lot to about 2.8 seconds behind. At the same time, the 17 of Truex was coming through the field quick, and had we gone green, he looked like he might have been able to take the lead. However, on lap 261, Kyle Busch brought out the final caution of the day, sending us into NASCAR overtime. This race could not have been wrapping up better. All of the storylines throughout the entire day were culminating on this very last restart. We had the 11 and the 17 on the front row, both of which got put back in the field because of the situations they found themselves in earlier in the race. Because of that, they had to gamble on pit strategy, which ended up working great for them, putting them on the front row for the final restart. On the restart, the 5 ended up going 3 wide to the bottom of the 11. However, the 17 was able to clear both cars and come off of turn 2 with the lead. The 17 and the 5 took the white flag with the 17 still up front. However, Larson was able to get side by side with the 17 on the final turn, meaning they would have to drag race back to the line. The 2 were racing to the line, smashing into each other, trying to give themselves the advantage. Coming to the line, it looked like the 17 was in front, and I thought that were the case, and so did they. The 17 team immediately started celebrating as soon as both cars crossed the line. At this point, the broadcast was going back and forth showing the 17 team as well as the 5 team, and it was just at that moment when they were showing Cliff Daniels sitting on top of the box, we saw his eyes get big, and they announced that Kyle Larson was indeed the winner. Fox showed the finish in slow motion, and we could see that for the first 8 feet of the last 10 feet coming to the finish, the 17 was in front. However, somewhere during those last 3 feet, we see Kyle Larson just barely pull ahead, giving him the closest finish and the closest win in NASCAR history. The clock read 0.00 on the margin of victory. As you could probably tell, I am super pumped for this finish. I think this was one of the most amazing finishes I have ever seen in a NASCAR race. And I know that we just said that at Atlanta. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out which one was the better race right now. Right now, it feels like this one, but I'm sure that's just recency bias. Please let me know down in the comments, do you think that this is a better race than Atlanta, or did you think the Atlanta race was better overall? While this was an awesome win for the 5 team, I feel so bad for the 17 team, as well as Ford overall. They've been having a really rough go of it recently, and it looked like they were going to come away with the win today. And the team even started celebrating because they thought they had it. Not only that, but that's the second race this year that Ford has lost in a photo finish. With the first being earlier this year at Atlanta, with the 12 of Ryan Blaney just barely coming up short to the 99 of Daniel Suarez. And this race doesn't come without some controversy. We actually saw RFK post after the race a picture showing that the line on the banking is actually a little bit closer to the right than the line that's on the apron, which is where the 17 car was. I'm really curious to see what NASCAR has to say about this. And honestly, I'm going to be watching the news all night, waiting to see if NASCAR makes any kind of changes to this finish. I don't think they're going to, but I know that RFK is going to be hounding NASCAR to take a look at this. One storyline from this race that's going to get overshadowed, and for good reason, is the fact that Noah Gragson had his 3rd straight top 10 finish. I think it is amazing what that team has been doing. One thing you've got to remember about this team is they got docked 35 points earlier in the season because of a penalty. If this team is able to fight their way into the playoffs, that's going to be an awesome accomplishment on their part. And at this point, I think they're going to do it. Overall, it was an absolutely amazing race. And for a race I didn't even think was going to get in today, and honestly, I thought they should have postponed to tomorrow, I cannot be happier. I'm really glad they were able to get it in. I can't wait to see what fans are going to be saying about this finish. I'm already hearing Ford fans saying that Buescher was the true winner. And to be honest, I think there's a conversation there. I'm really curious to see what NASCAR has to say about this. But let me know down in the comments, do you think that Larson won or do you think it was Buescher? Also, do you think that this was the best race of the year? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make like Christopher and hit that bell so you can get notified on all of our latest NASCAR content. I appreciate you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.